If you think political controversy only flares up in Parliament or on social media, think again. In early 2025, Donald Trump proved that even one of America's premier cultural institutions can become a battleground in his never-ending culture war. The Kennedy Center, long regarded as neutral ground for artists, a place honoring everyone from Broadway legends to rock icons, was transformed into a new fortress of Trumpism. How? Simple. Purge the board, fire the entire leadership, install loyalists, and declare an end to all woke programs and progressive politics in the arts. From Trump's perspective, this was a rescue mission, saving art from the grip of radical leftism he claims is eroding American culture. But to the artistic community, it was nothing short of a hostile takeover. Lin-Manuel Miranda, creator and star of Hamilton, the show that turned U.S. history into a cultural phenomenon, was among the first to push back. He vowed never to perform at the Kennedy Center again if it continued down this politicized path. Soon after, a wave of prominent artists and producers followed suit, including Rhiannon Giddens, Issa Rae, Shonda Rhimes, and Renee Fleming. Productions planned for months were either canceled or moved to other venues. Entertainment media wasted no time turning the saga into headline gold. Late-night talk shows ran photoshopped images of Trump in a bright red suit, holding a microphone on the Kennedy Center stage like the host of a reality TV show captioned, "Keeping Up with the Culture Wars." Memes spread so fast that mag-arts and cancel woke culture trended within hours. A Le Monde analysis called it a politically driven cultural overhaul not seen since the Cold War, when art was state-directed. Time was even blunter. The Kennedy Center now feels like Trump's living room. Interestingly, despite the backlash, many Trump supporters hailed the move as necessary to restore purity to the arts. On conservative forums, comments like, "If Hollywood and Broadway are drowning in woke, it's time for a fortress to defend traditional values," racked up thousands of likes. And so from a national arts center, the Kennedy Center stepped fully into a new role. A trench in America's culture war, where every performance is no longer just art, but a political statement aimed straight at the audience. Right after the Kennedy Center fortress was built with its new Trump-branded rules, the storm didn't fade. If anything, it spread like an unwanted sequel everyone still couldn't stop watching. Within just a few weeks, staffing and programming decisions had turned the center into the epicenter of a drawn-out, political, cultural firestorm, where even a simple performance announcement read like an ideological manifesto. Inside, the atmosphere was described as campaign season, from the rehearsal room to the boardroom. One anonymous staffer claimed that programming meetings were no longer about which artists were most deserving, but about which ones weren't on the woke blacklist. Artists who had been pillars of American culture now found themselves scrutinized through a political lens, even if they had never spoken out publicly. Outside, the press feasted on the drama. The Washington Post called it the artistic version of a political purge, while Rolling Stone snarked, "Forget the symphony, we now have a MAGA choir." A string of politics meets entertainment podcasts sprang up, speculating on who might be the next casualty of this cultural cleansing. Conservative media painted a different picture. The Kennedy Center as liberated territory, freed from the grip of liberal elites. Fox News guests openly praised Trump for doing what everyone knew had to be done, but no one dared. Images of him standing on stage, hand raised like a pioneer, were edited into propaganda-style posters flooding social media. Financial ripples began to show. Several longtime donors announced they were freezing or cutting their funding, saying they didn't want their names tied to a project that's lost its independence. In their place, new conservative benefactors appeared, ready to pour in money, on the condition that the center stay strong against woke. This shift left the Kennedy Center's budget unstable, but locked it into dependence on a single, ideologically aligned audience base, Within the arts community, some chose quiet resistance, refusing to perform without publicly giving reasons or setting conditions like only perform if the program remains uncensored. A handful of small theater troupes and music ensembles seized the backlash as a rallying cry, encouraging audiences to support independent art spaces free from blacklists or political priority lists. Bit by bit, the Kennedy Center became a mirror of America's polarization. For one side, it was the rebirth of traditional art. For the other, it was proof that culture had been commandeered for power. And in the middle were millions of potential audience members, unsure whether to buy a ticket for the love of art or just to watch the next episode of the political reality show playing out live on stage. As the Kennedy Center controversy simmered, the next developments pushed it into full-blown political cultural drama mode. In just a few months, what was once the most anticipated artist-honoring event of the year morphed into a loyalty test. Some honorees turned down the award, not because of scheduling conflicts, but because they didn't want to share the stage with a political brand. Gloria Gaynor became a lightning rod when social media launched the shocked "Don't Do It, Gloria" campaign, urging her to boycott. Late-night shows had a field day, photoshopping her hit "I Will Survive" into "I Will Decline," with images of her walking off stage. Meanwhile, the new Kennedy Center leadership spun the uproar into reverse marketing. They doubled down on outreach to conservative audiences, framing the event as an unwoke artist honors ceremony that respects real values. Special donor packages emerged, offering exclusive perks to businesses and individuals aligned with the center's new cultural direction. Not everyone called it a win. Art critics warned that if this trend continued, the Kennedy Center risked losing its hard-earned status as a nonpartisan cultural sanctuary. They feared audiences would buy tickets not for the performances, but to see what Trump says next. Cultural journalists drew comparisons to moments in history when art was repurposed as propaganda, from Stalin-era Soviet Union to nationalist art campaigns under authoritarian regimes. Over time, the line between an arts show and a political rally at the Kennedy Center blurred. The Artist Honors Night was no longer purely about celebrating talent, but had become a double-layer stage. The top layer glowing under spotlights, the lower layer a power struggle, where every speech and every round of applause was dissected through a political lens.